I need to find a better button for push to talk than the... I don't even know what that button is, but it lets me not click on things, and I don't like that. But that's cool, because it's time for more of the bestest game all around. Once every 14 days, we assemble for a long, long time of super dope roleplay from a bunch of great folks with a side of a Cyclops who has no name showing up and magically trolling the party, as has been a theme on our run of Kingmaker, the 5 of you. Thank you for your support, helping keep us pandemic-proof and do the coolest thing on planet Earth for money, basically. It has been honor, pleasure, and privilege to last time try to dominate, save or die, fireball, or otherwise hurt you. Basically, taking your run through the tour of the new settlements that have sprung up along the first road. There was a burb who trolled you, and Arcturus didn't like that very much, and basically called out the wizard's familiar, who promptly teleported himself and some friends in to hurt you and some of your citizens. You were able to repel them, and that was basically the session. So, for our in-character reflections for the hero point, I will... Are there any volunteers, I suppose?
Go last.
I would also like to go last.
All right.
Roll you for it.
I guess I'll go.
All right, Senia first.
Yay.
So Senya doesn't have anything written down this time, but she is she can't write anyway. She is a Kelid barbarian from the Glenavon Uplands. She is one part Geminid Invoker, one part Phalanx Soldier, and she also has a horse who was magically, or I guess not magically, more like divinely imbued by Erasto a couple of sessions ago. So it's now a horse with horns, which is kind of cool. Who is also her totem guide. Yeah, and last session, Senya definitely thought she was about to meet her maker, so to speak. We ran into a lich. Senya never seen a lich, but overall, they, as the GM explained, we came out on top of that. And she's itching to go scouting and go find this lich's lair and slay that evil. That is all.
Alrighty, good enough for me. Hero point goes to you, and I guess it falls between Arcturus and Kalira for who goes next.
I'll go. I play Kalira Ashling, half-elf barbarian of the superstitious archetype. And with the last mission, facing the lich, she noticed, though, a good chunk of her arm disappeared once it returned somehow. The scar that's there now, the discoloration, still even with that, the same old scars remain, her first scars. The arcane carvings into her flesh somehow remain, even though how many times her skin is marred and torn and ripped. Going over that frustration, though, she thinks to herself, well, a witch you could kill over and over again might not be so bad. That's it.
Fair enough. When in doubt, grind it out. I can respect that. Fair enough. Good for you. And
ESP fine.
Yeah, I suppose if
That's how this works.
Kato and Ionio want to go some kind of last, it would then fall to Arcturus.
Yeah. Okay, so just I had a very brief thing, and then so
As the eulogy ended and the crowd dispersed, Artoris returned to the pile of ash that was not too long ago their undead foe. Though much of it had been lost to the breeze and subsequent hurried movements of his allies, enough remained for Artoris to push through it with his boot, hoping in vain to reveal some answers contained within the dust. This fiend thinks itself above our laws, but it is mistaken. The Inquisitor turns his attention to the burned-out home now, and he shakes his head. Likely the latest in a long list of transgressions. With respect to whatever knowledge he may hold for Ionia or for Galadon, his sentence is clear, and I will not hesitate to carry it out more completely. Holding his crossbow in one hand, the High Priest looks to Arbiter and fondly smiles. Far from being bothered by the Lich's attempts to turn his allies, there is instead a bit of pride he feels knowing that he had been singled. This creature believes that Abadar and the reach of his order are the greatest threats he has ever seen to his existence. Artoris shifts his grip to holding the crossbow with both hands now before moving off from the remains, and I will prove him right. I play that guy, Artoris Vilmire, an Inquisitor of Abadar, sanctified slayer and all that stuff. Lawful neutral, and yeah, that's my thing.
He plays the guy who now pulls the trigger and everything explodes. It's real good. Alrighty, good enough. Hero points all around. I guess.
I mean, I'll go.
Ionia did say go last first. She technically got dibs.
Oh, I've been just trolling her this whole time. I don't have any reason to go last. I'm just a jerk like that. All right, Cato Sicarius. That is me. I am him. Human, Taldan, born of the city of Restov, now in this wonderful kingdom known as Concordia. I am playing a cornucopia of classes. So we'll start. He is a level 1 Eldori Sword Lord Prestige class, a level 4. See, can't even keep it straight anymore. Rosalind Bravo Swashbuckler, a level 2 Monk Master of Many Styles archetype, and a level 1 Fighter Weapon Master archetype. Yeah. So, unfortunately, Cato's epic road trip, had to be canceled early due to the attack from the Lich. I'm just gonna, since I don't know his name, I'm just gonna refer to him as Voldemort. Right now, Cato's in a situation he has never been in before. There's an imminent threat that is looming over him, looming over his companions, looming over the kingdom that he seeks to build and strengthen, yet he hasn't even the faintest idea of what he can do or what he should be doing, because the Phylactery could be anywhere. The Lich could reappear at any time. All of this is unknown information, and there isn't really for the first time ever, there really isn't a set path to solving whatever this whatever this looming threat actually is. So for the first time, he's sort of at a loss, and he's going to probably need to rely on others for the first time, more than he can rely on himself in this situation. So gathering intel, coming up with theories and plans of where to go and what we should be doing is kind of what we're going to need to figure out. So it kind of feels like a fish out of water right now, and that's combined with the fact that seeing the house full of the family, which he had just had a heartwarming interaction with not 10 minutes earlier, go up in flames and have those people reduced to charred corpses. It's been a very emotional couple days, let's just put it that way. So Cato, having returned back to the capital, he's called a very they got back, it was fairly late. He's called an emergency meeting of the council to meet in the late morning before, I guess we'll say around 10:30, 11 o'clock, prior to that, he decided to get his mind off of the carnage and smoldering corpses that he had experienced by having a little powwow with some of the sword bros that had gathered in the town over the past few months, and that can be found in the text RP for those of you who are curious. Check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're leaving off.
Indeed.
Kato's dealing with internal demons and the memory of charred, smoldering corpses of children. What a horrible thing.
As you do.
Bastard.
As you do. All right, a hero point for you, and we send it to the mostly human one to round it out.
Mostly human occultist.
I like that stuck.
It did. It stuck hard.
All right, so I'm playing Ionia Essel, as previously mentioned, mostly human occultist. So my reflection is actually going to take place after the meeting that Cato just mentioned we were having. And it's lengthy, so saddle up.
Oh boy. Let me grab my coffee.
The soft yet deliberate sound of metal scraping against metal fills the air as the lid of the censer is removed. 2 small chunks of black charcoal rest in the palms of a pair of pale, calloused hands. The hands press together. After a brief moment of resistance, a crunch is heard as charcoal crumbles to a small pile of powder. With delicate precision, Ionia removes her hands over the bowl of the censer, carefully pouring the dust back in, where it is mixed with the ashy remains in the base of the censer. She turns slightly, removing an unnamed leather-bound journal from a nearby desk. The book appears to be very old, though it has clearly been well cared for. Ionia flips through the pages of incomprehensible scrawlings before finally landing on a page featuring a complex sigil. Had a Matt Mercer there. The book lands with a gentle thud as it's placed on the ground beside the censer. Kneeling next to it, Ionia dips the fingers of her right hand into the exposed dish of ash, pausing for a moment to breathe in the lingering scent of the burnt thylu bark. An intense focus falls over the young woman's face as she gingerly begins to trace the image onto the floor. It takes some time, but after just shy of an hour, she stands before her work, certain she got it right this time. She withdraws another small book from her satchel, this one much smaller, with a reddish color to it. She traces her fingers over the shallow rivets in the cover for what she hopes will be the last time. She has spent many hours with this book, learning all of its secrets, all of Tartuk's secrets. She had even taught herself a bit of Undercommon from her hours of careful study of this tortured creature's writings. Perhaps this oblation will be enough. But just in case. She digs into her belt pouch and produces a pair of platinum pieces. She places the book and coins, each in the center of the sigil. And finally, unwrapping a small cloth, a limp body of a deceased bat is revealed and placed carefully atop Tartuk's journal. Taking a step back, she recites, and I'm not going to try to do this because it would be something in Tian, so some Tian incantation. Nothing happens. Again. No, this should have worked. I did everything right. Frantically, she swipes the book from the floor, dropping it in her lap as she begins to pore through the pages in search of clarity. The answer had to be in there. Suddenly, an oversized white paw interrupts her search as the book is nearly knocked from her hands, creating a small tear over the page. A wet nose presses against her forehead as the beast whines for Ionia's attention. Not now, Minoru. Go lay down. Dejected, the dog takes a few steps before plopping down beside the circle of ash. Like the broom she'd used countless times in the temple, his tail brushes over a section of the sigil, unwittingly threatening hours of meticulous effort. Minoru, no! She throws herself toward the dog in a struggle to pull him away and preserve her work. Impetuously, the white body rolls, exposing his belly. Minoru lets out a joyful grunt, pleased to have the girl's attention. Fearing far more damage, she watches in horror, then revelation, as the tail brushes against the nearest rune, extending the length of the rune that previously meant joy, instead becoming the rune for gateway. Minoru, she gasps, you're a genius. The dog wiggles happily, understanding that he's done something good, though not quite aware of what exactly it was he did. The summoning wasn't working because there wasn't a gateway, as Minoru stamps his feet, waiting eagerly for his treat. She tries the incantation once more. One by one, the ashes making up each rune begin to emit a subtle orange glow, like that of embers. The strong earthy scent of the Thylu bark permeates the room, as the embers of the sigil produce a billowing sphere of dense smoke. The smoke twists and writhes into a form, and a form begins to appear, a familiar form. A tall robed man with a flat-topped cap stands before her, stroking his long thin beard. The serpentine figure sitting atop his shoulders slithers through the air, snatching the bat into its smoky jaws. Still waiting, and now jealous that some other creature got a treat before him, Minoru charges towards the pseudo-dragon. A tiny burst of fire launches from the small reptilian jaws, threatening the dog and stopping him in his tracks. Ionia absent-mindedly reaches into a pouch, tossing a bit of jerky onto the floor to prevent the conflict. She then falls to her knees, dropping to a full bow before her ancestor. Cue Tommy.
Cue Tommy. All right, fair enough. Damn. I was wondering when we were going to see the occultist power activate, but here we are. Good. Take the hero point. And I suppose we'll pick up immediately from there, if it please the Council of Concordia, for whomst there finally is a flag in the Discord that I'll probably from this session forward post it places, because it's quite good. The figure, I guess I don't necessarily want to say looms over Ionia, but despite not being alive for a very, very long time, they still are able to cut a pretty imposing figure as they look down upon you. The pseudo-dragon kind of like makes its way serpentining down over your direction, sniffs you. Just, I suppose my first question is, do they know who you are?
I would imagine he does.
Okay. Well. We've certainly come a long way. Takes in the room around him. This is... Where exactly are we, little one?
We are in the nation of Concordia, a nation that my friends and I have established.
And this is... where exactly?
It's south of Brevoy in the Stolen Lands, great ancestor.
Very far indeed, then. He kind of scritches his I guess to put his hand on his head, as my NPCs so often do, would disturb the hat. So not quite that, more just plays with his beard. Pseudo-dragon serpentines up. He scritches the snick as it boops the snoot, basically. No longer in the lands of, well, me, ancestor. And why have you disturbed me?
I fear my mother is in danger, and I believe that you may be able to obtain the information I need in order to help her.
Oh? Whatever do you mean?
We were recently attacked by a lich who mentioned my mother's name. I believe he may have been responsible for the vanishing that happened 11 years ago. We need to find his phylactery, and I would like to know, does it lie to the east?
You say lich, he closes his eyes for a second, and there's an obvious look of shock and horror. I see. Come far and to much greater dangers. To the east. He closes his eyes. I believe this functions as per augury. I think. I should probably open this up really quickly. Before I'll just roll for it real quick. Right quick like. He slowly shakes his head.
Shakes his head in a yes or in a no.
In a no, sorry.
And out of character, I only get one question, right?
I will, because this is my first occultist. Fun fact, we actually had a request. Somebody requested me do a min-maxing video for some class that can abuse rarely used skill checks, and nothing is more rarely used than appraised. So we're going to figure out how this works real soon, because I have to. But as far as the grabbing the outsider, or in the what I thought was very flavorful case, ancestor for you, the information gained can be anything that might be learned through a divination. God, that is vague. That's rude. That's super rude. I'm
I wasn't
gonna
really sure how to do to that.
Yeah, that's... You could give us a spell. Jeez, Paizo. I'm gonna say... Well, it's as lesser planar binding. So that might give us a little more of a... I'll say 2 more. So I'm not just for 30 minutes going, flipping through various divination spells.
Figure out how it actually works later on and use that moving forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll make a ruling.
In the interim, he shakes his head. No, not east.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Did you say 2 more again out of character?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll shift my body and kind of wave my hand to the south, perhaps.
43% chance.
He shakes his head no again.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, because if you ask 3 wrong questions, you know what the 4th is.
Well, then I do hope it's to the west.
Again, there's another shake of the head now.
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, that can leave only one direction then. Or possibly underground.
Or in another plane of existence, or...
Did you need anything else?
This is all I would ask of you at this time. You've been of great help. And I'll bow my head again.
He returns the bow, leans over, tries to scritch Minoru, realizes he can't once his hand, like, through and through is Minoru because he's a ghost. That's disappointing. He goes back to, like, stand up to his full height again, and by the time his spine straightens out all the way, he fades away and shimmers and is no more.
And I'll just kind of hold that bow for a little bit until I'm sure he's gone, and then I'll start cleaning up. And I imagine, as all weird occulty things that I do, this probably happened late at night, so I'll bother the council with it in the morning.
As all weird occulty things do, they must happen at the witching hour.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell Kalira. So meanwhile, at the Swordbro Academy.
That's yet to be built yet.
Meanwhile, at the Fop House.
The biggest Fop House. Fort Staggrave. Which, by the way, you guys will have noticed that over the past, little while, there have been more and more, sword bros, as you call them, gathering in the courtyard and just, generally taking up space in and around the castle. So, like, as you venture in and out for, like, council meetings and stuff, you'll notice that, like, the area becomes more and more frequented by those people.
Don't tell me what my character would notice.
Boom. It's really hard for me to not imagine the Aldori in training in Restov, the chaotic neutral city of we all come here to learn how swords work. It's just frat boys who aren't attending college but are in college and drinking instead of going to classes. So it's hard to not picture just Cato's friends from college just with their feet up on the furniture, how they shouldn't be, idly drinking and jousting.
And growing in number as time goes on.
And growing in number.
That's the best part.
All right, so Cato just got up real early this morning, prior to the council meeting, and had his own little council meeting of dudes, which he gave a very rousing speech to. Once again, check out the text RP for all those juicy RP nuggets.
They are objectively very good, and you can find them in the Patreon Discord.
Yeah,
There it is.
All you gotta do is pay my man Tommy some money.
Yeah. Toss a coin to your witch and get some roleplay that I didn't write at all.
do it. It's worth it.
Sometimes I do, occasionally.
And the song's stuck in my head again.
Nice.
Coin to your witcher.
Oh, valley of plenty.
All right, so cool. So as the crowd disperses, Cato will also look over to Bakken and be like, "Oh yeah, did you happen to brew up that thing I asked of you?"
Yeah, of course. Then he withdraws them and puts them in front of you on some kind of table. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed. That's not the worst line of thought I wouldn't have thought of it, is what I'm saying. And that is objectively what I've been trying to drill into your head, is something that has evaded even me. I hesitate to say you have caught me speechless. And he bows.
Well, that's high praise coming from someone who generally just thoroughly insults me, so thank you.
I have come a long way from being that kid who wandered out of Restov thinking he was gonna tame this entire region in 6 months or less.
With my sword, no doubt.
With your sword, no doubt.
He takes the mysterious vials and slots them into his bandolier. And looks over to Jubilost, and who has a young boy in tow. How is the name pronounced? You put a funky character in it, so I just want to make sure. Mateus?
Yes. Also, it's going to be so hard to hold down a push-to-talk button and clap. I hate everything. I have ruined everything. Shit. Jubilost is dead. He explodes. Yeah, I can't be him anymore. Shit.
That's the whole reason I played this game. I quit.
Shit. No.
Jubilost's clapping is the only reason that we keep Jubilost around, to be honest. His eccentric personality. Yeah. Just kidding. Well, we know he's no good in a fight, so...
Excuse you. Damn, I can kind of clap while holding down a button. I look objectively very stupid doing this. He just rolled really bad that encounter, damn it.
Yeah, he did. It was funny, though. And then he almost died to,
He almost died to something that he has a racial trait that gives him a +4 dodge bonus against and bonuses to hit and damage.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
Well, that's the dice, right?
Uh-huh.
The dice taketh and the dice... the dice giveth and the dice taketh away.
And the dice forgetteth that gnomes have a huge bonus against giants.
Oh. So he'll look over at the two standing there, and he'll look down to Mateus and say, "I've been hearing a lot about you, young one." He's halfling, right?
Yes, he is about... you look him up and down, it's... they mature about the same rate as humans, I would think, more or less. He's really young. It's almost questionable if he should be here without adult supervision in the first place. If he's come of age, he's only just. He's also kind of not as bad because he does keep active, but it's obvious he likes his food. He doesn't have the full Sam Gamgee build, but it's real close. He wears just kind of like simple attire, not uncommon to what you would find in folks in Restov, minus the no shoes, of course, and Kyrgyz's holy symbol hangs from his neck. Thank you. I do what I can. These folks just get a little carried away, you know, and my friends, they were coming out here, and I wanted to make sure that nobody chopped a finger off.
So I have to ask, what brought you here? Why have you left your home to join us in this place?
Now, like I said, a lot of my friends are here. Restov is what it is. The food's good. He rubs his stomach as he thinks of the delicious pastries of home. And now I am hungry. Restov itself has been not the best lately, ever since the Lord Mayor... Well, when you take a city that is so inundated with individuals who wish to become the most famous sword masters in all of Galarian and institute new orders indicating that only friends of the mayor may openly carry weapons, it tends to incense some folks, you know? Also, there's so many rumors about, well, you yourself, my lordship, and your particular style of fighting. There are many, even still in Restov today, who wish to emulate it.
Kato scratches his chin. It sounds like the free city of Restov has become a lot less free in recent days.
No, that's a very fair statement, yes. Some people stay, some folks like I suppose, the safety of walls and armed guards, but kinda defeats the purpose of being there in the first place.
He nods. I grew up there my whole life, as I'm sure you've no doubt heard of my father. Have you heard anything about him? How's he doing? Do you know?
I mean, other than the fact that, well, rumors persist after he formerly denounced his son and unnobled him, if you will. He hasn't been doing the best, mentally speaking, but the house is sound. Everyone, at least as of last I was there, is alive, happy, healthy, and safe. At least in a physical sense.
That's good. That's good to hear. I hold no ill will towards my father. I know he did what he had to do to survive. We all do. And here I do what we need to do to survive. The reason I've asked Jubilos to bring you forward specifically is you've been making quite a name for yourself. Clearly, you have a lot of heart and you have a lot of honor when it comes to, those who you fight with or fight alongside. You're known for, making sure that your friends are safe, that nobody gets hurt. These are all great qualities, and your skills with a blade are also, quite impressive for someone of your age. So I feel like while your skills are definitely, or while your potential is definitely great, how do I want to approach this?
Character.
Yeah. Out of character. Let me do some hemming and hawing here. While you show great potential and a lot of heart, God, my brain just turned off. Sorry about this, guys.
On.
Rebooting.
Clap.
Rebooting, hold on. Dieter. Wait, that's a modem. Just as I was trained by my father and many great swordsmen before me. He gestures over to Bakken. I feel like your potential could be truly unlocked should you be given the same opportunity. With that said, I would like to offer you my tutelage. You would train with me. I would teach you everything that I know, just like the masters who trained me. I think that we could turn that potential into something truly fearsome, especially since you seem to have the heart and honor to take what I could teach you and use it in the best way possible.
Of course, my lord. If that is your wish, then I would be honored. He kind of like scratches his tum-tum a little bit, pulls his shirt that's a little too small for him down. I don't... Skill with the blade, I try my best. It's hard to keep up with the bigger folk, even on my best of days and on my worst of them. I feel like I just embarrass myself, but, well, I might not be as strong as the strong man, and he taps the holy symbol. But if you think you can bring it out of me, then so be it.
The first thing we need to do is get you into some proper fitting clothes. You can't be seen, or there's no way I'm going to have you have my tutor, or there's no way that my disciple is going to be seen looking like this with a shirt too small. Also, we're putting you on a diet.
He kind of looks half-hearted as you say that, and just, all right. I don't...
Jubilost.
Yes!
Oh, sorry, go.
Jubilost.
I'll let Mateus finish, sorry.
He just kind of looks up and, I don't suppose there'll be... I know we aren't exactly on good terms with Restov here, but... Well, we heard about what happened in Thornburg, and I'd like to get a letter to my parents. Tell them that I'm sorry and that I love them, in case he trails off.
Cato thinks for a moment. We may be able to arrange such a thing. Let me get back to you on that. Should be... Well, he just kind of pauses. Kate, Tommy, we're still technically all, banned from that area, right? Under
pain of death, yeah.
Under pain of death, and, how is it possible to send, communications back to, family members and stuff, or would they basically, intercept anything we sent or attempt to? Would we have to send, letters back, secretly?
That would probably be your best bet. Yeah, if something goes to Restov with the seal of Concordia on it, it's probably at best intercepted and read, at worst just thrown in the trash.
Fair enough. So then I'll say, we'll definitely want to, we'll see what we can do. Obviously, relations aren't the best. We want to make sure that your letter arrives. So... But the events that happened in Thornburg were certainly unfortunate. The stolen lands are a vast and dangerous place. However, stay close, do as you're told, and you'll survive. Now, Jubilost.
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind taking this young lad and getting him some more appropriate garb to wear, something befitting of the status of the king's disciple.
Jubilost nods once and takes Mateus off.
What a nice boy. Sam. Oh, sorry. Post that in the... Zorosh sent a meme of basically Sam saying potatoes.
Potatoes.
Oh my god.
Perry and riposte.
And Zarash, please. No. Just no.
Well, you make it so easy.
It's like.
I
Alright.
like how you and also typed it.
Oh god, I should have kept. Oh, here you have a cornucopia of classes.
Oh, you posted the screen. Yeah. And then I said just no. All right, there we are. Cool. I think it's time for the emergency meeting of the council to discuss what the hell we need to do now.
Further developments from the soot scale situation. I guess unless Kalira, Senia, Artoris have anything they want to do when they get back.
Nothing here.
No.
And so the meeting was called. I suppose I should ask, whomst amongst the NPCs on the council should be present?
Juby.
Jubilost, Bakken. I'm also going to ask Grinluke to be in attendance.
I think I can arrange that.
And who's the other? We have another NPC, right, on the council?
The chief?
Soot Scale, yes, thank you. Why do I forget about him? He's been quiet lately. Good old
You've been
chief.
pretty depressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been training with him. He's doing all right.
I'm really good at stabbing people in the kidneys, but also I'd really like to find my people, and so that's kind of taking up most of my mental state. Except for kidneys. I'm a little creepy, I guess.
He's got a thing for kidneys.
I have a bathtub back at the Soot Scale estate. It's full of ice in a seedy apartment complex that we've now built. Oh shit, we've made the whole meme.
Nice.
That's my trainer right there.
Oh god.
Taught me everything I know.
These guys training our high priest guys.
Black market kidney. I mean, we can build a black market, and then Soot Scale could be like, could source the kidneys to sell. It said black
Is this
market.
what you've called this meeting about?
Yeah.
God damn it.
All right. So as we are gathered,
We are gathered here today.
Richdom. It's what brings us all together.
Lichdom, yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Clearly, we have a predicament on our hands. Ionia has informed me. I'm just going to base this off the RP because Cato being, completely knowing absolutely nothing about this kind of stuff. Recently, in the text RP, Ionia filled Cato in on the natures of liches. It has been brought to my attention that the hideous fiend that we dispatched of in Thornburg is in fact not dead. He is still out there, regenerating, and will likely re-emerge and re-attack us at an unknown time and unknown place. Therefore, it is the top priority of this council and the forces being trained by council members to ascertain the location of this phylactery, so that we can stop this lich creature once and for all. With that said, I think our operations need to be twofold. First and foremost, we need to ensure that our citizens, should the lich strike again, which it is likely to do, we need to make sure that our citizens are safe. As per the events of the other day, and the tragic loss of life that occurred within Thornburg. We have not been doing all that we can do to keep the citizens safe. As such, Artoris and Grinluke, could you please step forward? Let's see.
Take a step
Just-
forward.
Grinluke, step, bow.
But you just wanted Grinluke, right? Do you want to retcon this?
No, you and Grinluke.
Okay.
Because Artoris and I have been, Grinluke, Artoris and I have been in discussion about, hold on, I have cats fighting.
Story of my fucking life. Actually, it hasn't been as bad lately. Now it's just play fighting, but Achilles' play fighting is still too strong. So I find a lot of like cat hair from the other cat that has a lot of hair just everywhere.
Actually, I'm going to take, all right, cats are, those two, I wish they would get along better. Anyway, I'm going to take a step back. Can I do a quick retcon?
Sure.
All right, Kalira, step forward, please.
Grinluke and I step back.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's something else was happening. Shit, backs up.
I'm
That
hitting
was...
the rewind button. Kalira, are you with us?
Yeah, what's up?
Is that what she says?
Yep.
What's up? All right. Kalira, these are trying times. These are very dangerous times. I have a special assignment for you. Though you've done a great job in your time here, stirring the, when we were first a fledgling, town with a sorry excuse for a fort, you stirred the mercenaries, farmers, and common folk into a respectable security force. Now you have these Ash Maidens at your disposal. I think it is time that we put you and your soldiers, for lack of a better word, to better use. You've done well in your time as warden. However, I think it is time for you to use your skills and fighting and combat prowess in a more active role in defending this kingdom. As such, I would like to offer you the position of marshal within our kingdom. You and your Ash Maidens would have essentially be tasked with securing the kingdom, the roads, the borders, and defending us against outward threats such as this Lich and its minions, and any other threat that would seek to harm us. You're given authority to grow your order of Grey Maidens, or Ash Maidens. Why do I keep calling them Grey Maidens? It's because it's so derivative. To create a fighting force that will strike fear into the hearts of our enemies. Do you accept this charge?
Want me to clomp around the fucking woods?
I want you to lead an army to prevent things like what happened in Thornburg from happening again. The Lich could strike anywhere, at any settlement. It certainly seeks to hurt us, whether that's directly by attacking us, the people of this council, or by attacking our people. I could think of no one better to keep our people safe than you and your Ash Maidens.
Clears this down.
Okay. That leaves an open warden position within the kingdom. Artoris and Grinluke, would you step forward?
And so it was.
Grinluke, you are new, relatively new to this, to the present company, or to here. You're relatively new to this kingdom, present company included. However, Arcturus speaks very, very highly of you as a member of what's the Abadar's Order of Paladins called? They have a name, right?
Yes. Hold on. I have it like bookmarked.
I like how much we've got our shit together today. Even.
We are doing
Also-
what we can.
Also, I'm playing referee with 2 cats right now, so
Knight of Coins.
Knights of Coins. Wow, that's
Is literally his archetype. It's very good.
oh. Anyway, where did I say? So yeah, Artorius has spoken very highly of you. You've been a great asset to him, and I hope that you could become an even greater asset to our kingdom. As I said, we are in need of a warden. I can think of no one better for the job. With Artorius's guidance as the high priest, I would like to charge you in the development of a paladin guard, essentially. Uphold the law in the city. Recruit and train those who you would deem would be viable members to become paladins of the Knights of Coin. Wow, it's a lot more fancy sounding than I thought it was going to be. You would be granted, a seat on the council with all the privileges that come with it, should you accept. Of course, your duties would be, with all the duties and privileges that come with it. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
He nods, kind of like the words hit him, and he closes his eyes, nods a couple times. I would need to send word back to Vigil. Technically speaking, I'm only here on 18 months or so worth of leave. That said, certainly there's a lich running around here where I come from. The lich is still sleeping. So there's an argument to be made that I'm more useful here than there. Certainly they'll want to know. He nods.
Of course.
Provided my superiors will give me more than a little bit of leave and give me a formal, honorable discharge, I accept.
Very good, very good. We are honored to have you. Should your superiors allow it. Get back to me in a fortnight with their decision.
Nice.
I'll do what I can. He kind of like looks around, scratches his head. I don't suppose anyone can send messages over vast distances.
Juby?
Not quite. No, I'm sorry.
Where is what's her name?
I need one of those arcane spellcasters.
Yeah, need to hunt down Amalia. Maybe she's back at her hut.
Well, we haven't checked on her in, gosh, like a year.
8 months, yeah. I wonder if that Hell Knight's body's still there.
I wonder if our bag of holding is done.
God damn it.
Oh, I knew I left something back at the hut. Son of a bitch. Teleports back, fixes it, teleports to you. Sorry, I've been gone. Devil worshippers want me dead. Gotta go. Boop.
All right, so...
Heard anything on the Hell Knight front?
Nope.
No.
Like they've cleared out of our lands?
Well,
Grit. So Grenluke didn't already have a means of keeping in touch with his superiors while he was on this.
No, it's more of a like, we trust you to come back when you are due back kind of thing. He can't exactly lie, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Arcturus can work with you to figure out how to get that figured out.
Of course.
Passing the buck, buddy.
I know. I was going to say something out of character, but in character, of course.
I leave that in your faithful hands. All right. And one last matter of housekeeping, so to speak, and before we get on to the pertinent matter at hand. Senya, would you mind stepping forward?
Senya does so.
Probably perplexed because I just gave her position away to Kalira.
A little, yeah.
Senya, you're fired. Go home.
Senya's shoulders kind of stoop
No.
dejectedly.
There's a collective oof from the NPCs.
No. Senya. You have come a long way since I first met you in the streets of Rostov. You were uncouth, a little barbaric. But lately you have grown into a very noble, honorable, and caring person. Your display when you marched into the church, into the temple of our high priest, although a little off-putting in the moment, really showed that you have a passion when it comes to this land, the people who reside in this land, and those who follow the way of Erastil. And although Erastil is not our, primary deity, our high priest has agreed that those who wish to live the Erastil way of life and worship are free to do so, and are given given that freedom. With that said, as we discussed while we were in the temple, is we plan to develop this kingdom to the west, towards the Temple of the Elk, and to preserve those lands as you requested. Those who wish to settle in those lands and live away from the bustling cities that we wish to build, are free to do so. And as such, those people are going to need someone to represent them, someone who has their best interests at heart. And I can think of no one better to fill that role than you. Therefore, when the time comes, obviously we still have other matters pertinent matters to attend to first, but when the time comes and we carve that preserve out under our protection, I would appoint you to be to oversee that area in our name. You would be thus labeled the position of Viceroy. For those who don't know, the Viceroy position is if you have...
That's like the nicest way to use a Viceroy in these kinds of settings, given that Viceroy normally is like, I'm going to run the colony and make sure everything gets back to the settlement that I represent. This time we're just head of the nature preserve.
Not so much a nature preserve. Basically, I mean, part of it, a big chunk of that is going to be the nature preserve, but it's also going to be, the people who want to live there and want to live that sort of more druidic lifestyle, I want to say, even though not necessarily druids, but yeah. So the Viceroy represents the ruler's interests on an ongoing basis in a specific location, such as a colony, vassal state, or territory. The Viceroy is in effect the ruler for that territory. Her orders are superseded only by the actual ruler. So basically, we're going to carve out a portion of the kingdom where those who don't wish to live in big Abaddon cities can live, and obviously the nature preserve area will also be part of that. and to ensure that those people, have their needs met and their voices heard, Senya will essentially be the governor. If we're going to use like state lingo, in this case, it's the Viceroy that represents those people. So she'll be kind of like the territorial.
I'm the park
ruler.
ranger.
Only Senya can help prevent forest fires.
It's a political position. It's not a
Right. I get it. I'm here to make sure that our logging is responsible and our King's Forest is not overhunted, all that.
And she's like the voice of small town Concordia in the council, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like we're all going to be gathering like, all right, let's build the next big city. And like, meanwhile, the Erastil people are like, need stuff or need a voice. Senya's that voice. I mean, she was that voice when she barged into Artoris' temple. So I figured, you know what? She already kind of shows that she can do it. Let's make it official. However, we'll need to develop those areas, and we've made a commitment to do so. I think we've already started. The Thorne Ford right now is is essentially your only area of influence, but it'll grow.
Right.
So basically everything west of the ford. I'm going to do a freehand line here.
Unrelated, I'm getting a lot of nostalgia from the Thorne Ford encounter so long ago. As we talk about it and I look at it on the map, it has been a while. Remember when in like the first encounter for this group, there was a crit from a crossbow that got arrow deflected, and I tried to turn that back around on the Sanctified Slayer with some Cyclopses, and then he just murked the Cyclopses? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've spent 8 months trying to forget that.
You're never going to forget that because we're never going to let you.
Tommy's the first one to bring it up in months, so.
It's a new drawback.
Yeah. It's a new drawback.
It's like rock, paper, scissors. Monks beat occultists, and I don't know how the rest of it goes. But, yeah.
It's the only one that matters, though.
Yeah!
Monks beat occultists, and what was Cressel? That beats occultists, and Bear Trap beat occultists.
Oh, Bear Traps, oof, the arch enemy of the occultist.
5 foot of running water.
Bushes,
No,
bushes.
the rivers are the
Don't die to a bush.
arch enemy of our Inquisitor. Hey, remember that time we all fell into the river, and then, well, not everyone. Cato jumped, just like leaped over it, and he was fine. But everyone else kind of fell in. And then Artoris was like, "Hey guys, this is called planning. I'm going to tie the rope around my waist, and then that way, and then he falls in anyway."
I do remember that.
It was the best. Hey guys, this is called.
Is this meeting? Are we done? Do we have another purpose for this meeting, or
No, it's just to rub it in.
It's just to shit on. Yeah. All right. So there we go. I've drawn the border. So Senya, if you look at the map, there we go. Essentially, that'll be the divide between the two provinces. So
The forest line.
basically the forest line. I guess we could have just set the forest line, but anyway, now it's marked.
Now it's marked. Thanks for that.
well, isn't that's we're gonna talk about that privately though, because that's.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're building cities in the forest.
But like,
It's
if
gonna
we
be
have to
both.
make a path through the forest, like, is there a natural edge to it on the other side?
Sure.
If we were gonna build the thing on the tile to the west of the hot spring, we were gonna
Yeah,
build a city there.
sure. This territory can have an other side, but we have no territory over there yet, so we can redraw the borders.
Plus, I feel like we shouldn't be seeding tiles directly connected, like to our main capital. The one to the west of us, like, that's a little much. Like I said, we can talk about this later, but I think this is way more generous than.
Well, most of it's just going to be nature preserve. Remember, right?
Well, right, but like the tile. I guess my main objection is the tile directly to the west of our capital.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Everything else I was okay.
Well-
It was really just that one extension that was a little like, if we wanted to expand directly next to our capital, we should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's
All
the
right,
only way. That's the only way to expand, other than the ones we've already claimed, that isn't like blocked by river.
Well, there's this one here.
Well, but there's a river between. Like all our tiles are over it right now, but there are.
The river is like through the tile though, so I mean,
What I would actually say is, obviously this is just, so like we have this border here. The border would actually, I think, run through this crossing like that. The crossing would essentially be like the border crossing here, the ford. And then we could probably have a border crossing somewhere like here as well. It's okay if we're on the edge of the border of this territory. We have all this eastward and northeastern stuff, which I think is way more conducive to
Well,
the cities and stuff. But anyway, we can draw. We can get
All
specific.
right. Well, I just the way we discussed it was in a way that Arcturus would not have an objection to it. I was just making sure that that was correct, because I'm
I mean,
okay role playing it the other way, but I just wanted to be sure.
If
That that's...
Senya suggests that if the kingdom wants lumber, like I'm assuming we have like this map open there, like Cato discusses borders and things like that. If the kingdom wants a lumber mill, the border next to the city would be a good place for a lumber mill.
That's true.
Well, Abadar can take care of that for providing materials for our great cities.
When we get to that, we'll discuss. We'll come back to border drawing when we actually have a border to draw. How about that? Then
Sure.
This is going to be a great debate that we have.
I don't object to the Thorne Ford or the Temple of the Elk or anything to the north there, but I'm more resistant to the idea that it spans the entire Gnarl Marches. That seems like way more than necessary.
Well, like I said, the idea there is the nature. It's going to be like around the Temple of the Elk, like kind of like settlements and stuff, and then like to the south of that and to the west of that through the Gnarl Marshes is just going to essentially be preservation area. Because we're not going to be going in there and clear cutting the woods. I mean, there's the Uruxes breed spawning ground in there. There's all sorts of.
Well,
like,
we might to the tile directly west
yeah,
of
I mean,
us.
we might, yeah.
doing all of it.
But I'm just saying.
We also talked about building a road through to make the city on the other end of the Monaro Marches, and
Sure.
for that to not in our territory seems like a mistake logistically.
It is.
'Cause, like, think about it.
it
You're
is so
effectively
odd.
creating like a colony, like a region that.
No, it's more like think of it like it's its own state.
Okay.
So this kingdom would be broken up into two states, and then possibly a third one would then get.
Do you remember in American history when there was a civil war? because right now we live in an era of a strong federal government that keeps states in checks doesn't mean that's how it always is. I just think it's a dangerous political thing that you're doing.
To hand the other side way more territory.
Yeah, like I think we should maybe be a little cautious. Not that I don't trust Senya, but it's not even just about Senya. It's also about the people that live there. And if Senya were to be replaced or voted, what if they were like, she doesn't represent our interests? No taxation without representation. Then all of a sudden we have a revolution and our entire Western front is.
Esker, think of it more like Russia.
We're going to show up at their house unannounced on a sled pulled by bears,
Make a
ask
good
for dinner,
argument,
get
though.
it for free because we have to, and then go again. Long live the Tsar.
Think of it more like Russia. A large part of the Russian landmass is Siberia, which is undeveloped land. that's
Snowy
still,
hellscape.
Snowy hellscape, right? Most of 90% of the Gnarl Marshes will just literally be the Gnarl Marshes. For essentially unsettled, because it's where nomadic tribes and stuff live, right? Like that's how I see the Gnarl Marshes being within our sovereign borders, but essentially Siberia, just a warmer, more foresty version.
Well, that's true, but until you create the viceroy position, because that's creating like a separate political entity that we're like including within us for reasonable purposes, but is nevertheless a separate political entity that comes with it a lot of risks. So I think, I don't know. I look at it more like, okay, like USSR, like this is one of like a satellite country that was part of the USSR, and then as soon as the USSR came into hard times, they're like, see ya, deuces, and the USSR is like, well. So
or like, hypothetically speaking, in 100 years of the kingdom's history, when all of you are dead and gone, and the Senia's replacement is of a much different bent, and then 3 or 4 generations down the line, there's a civil war because the power columns have been built up, I guess is the best way to say it. Not to further stir the pot, but I get what Artoris is saying. He has a point. He has a plot arc for your next game, is what he has. Do it. Do that one.
We can discuss this more out of character. I don't know. Or out of session, I should say. A little both.
That's fine. All right, and we're far from this being an actual thing.
Right,
we need to.
It's not like we have the tiles to even divvy up to begin with, so.
Once we get the Temple of the Elk and the Hot Springs and maybe like the Statue of Erastil to the north-south of that, I think that's kind of where we're going to halt there for the time being anyway.
I mean, I would, and I in character and out, I want all of that to be part of what we're talking about, so that's perfect.
Alrighty, so then if that's the end of the early logistics of the meeting.
Nitty gritty stuff.
All right, that's everything. I don't think there's anything else to discuss, right?
We don't need to talk about the Cyclops in the room.
Nah.
It'd be fine.
Cyclops in the room.
Like I said, Team Rocket, like he'll come back, we'll just blast him off again, and then that'll be a recurring kind of theme.
Who's Pikachu in that scenario? Ooh, we've got the best plan to capture Minoru. I don't know, it's the only like pet thing we have.
I like to think it's. I like to imagine they just try to like pick up Grom and he's just standing there, like, nah, you're not gonna move me.
You're such a rare horse, Grom. Come, we must take you back to the boss. Grom just kind of throws shade and doesn't move.
Oh yeah, Zeresh, you might want. Well, no, I kind of gave a bit of a. Sorry. I think all the NPCs need to be brought up to speed. Sorry, I just saw your message, Zeresh. I don't think any of the NPCs know what's going on yet.
No, there was a little bit just now about how, like, there is a lich and we must deal with it kind of thing.
Oh,
and if they hadn't heard it from you, they would have heard it from, like, word of mouth at this point.
I'll step up, and first I'd like to say congratulations to everyone who's been promoted today. But we do have a looming threat over our kingdom that does need to be addressed, as pleasant as this all was. I have spent the evening doing extensive looking into this matter, and I believe that our best chance at finding the phylactery of the Lich lies to the north, or possibly, and this actually may be the most likely, the Lich may reside mostly in the first world. So if we could find a way through there, I think that may be where we need to go. Otherwise, it looks like we're starting a war with the Tiger Lords.
Yeah.
What exactly makes you think that some dead Cyclops lives in the lands of the Fae, Ionia?
I mean, I'll keep my sources to myself, if you don't mind. However, we have found reason to believe that this
witchcraft
is in possession. I'm just gonna ignore Cal. Is in possession of a very powerful Eobaran relic, which we believe is responsible for the vanishing of the kobolds, possibly even the vanishing in Brevoy years ago. I also have seen Divicos, the other of the last Black Stags, leaving what it seemed like this plane through similar yet different means to the vanishings previously mentioned. which leads me to believe that perhaps all of the victims of the vanishings may still be alive, and they would need to be kept somewhere. And in particular, the vanishing of Brevoy poses an interesting question, as those people have been missing for a very long time, and people have been looking for them for a very long time. So it's very likely that if they are still alive, they are not on this plane.
Fair enough. Reasonable assumptions. Anyone else got anything they want to throw out?
What?
Well, that certainly would complicate matters.
It would.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure which is worse, if the Lich is in league with the Tiger Lords, or if the Lich is on a different plane entirely, to be honest. The Tiger Lords have been a thorn in our side from the beginning. Though their forces are innumerable, and I'm not quite sure we're ready to go to war at that level yet.
Sorry. Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. I was born ready.
There's kind of a general, nod of agreement amongst folks at the table as we're not sure if we're ready to fight those guys yet. They all kind of look at each other, nod. Technically, I don't think we're really ready to fight a Lich either, but here we are. Unless you feel like submitting ownership of the kingdom to some long-dead mad mage. Personally, I'd rather not.
Somehow I doubt that offer is still on the table.
My suspicion is that the Lich probably has no desire to keep what we've built here in existence at all. I think that the Lich, for whatever reason, has a personal interest in keeping the stolen lands scarce.
What makes you say that? Not that I disagree, mind. Most people who are actively seeking immortality are the most vain, selfish bastards you've ever met in your entire life. But that is not to say that I'm not curious.
It's not uncommon knowledge that everyone prior to us who tried to settle these lands failed. Many of them went missing. And again, this kind of ties into my suspicion that the Lich may be tied to the First World. I think, as was the case with the Vanishing, the Soot Scale situation, and Divicos, the previous people who had tried to tame these lands, I think, were also victims of this Lich. And I can't really speak as to the motivation, but I think the evidence is what the evidence is.
You're certainly giving this Lich a lot of credit.
I know. I was going to say, this is a lot of speculation, but
I mean, if he theoretically made an entire colony of everyone living in the silver mines of the region disappear with the snap of his fingers, it's not like he's necessarily going anywhere. Not a huge impetus or rush to do much of anything. He could just sit wherever in the hells it is he's sitting, First World, Second World, or otherwise, wait till someone shows up, oops, got something to do, go do that thing eventually, and then go back to writing his memoirs for millennia on end, or whatever it is you do.
Yeah, it begs the question of why the Tiger Lords have been allowed to essentially exist in the stolen lands unchallenged all this time.
One could ask the same question about the Black Stags, though, or any other of the various Numerian tribes that have come through here.
Sure, but unlike those tribes, the Tiger Lords actually seek, conquest and, expansions in a similar sense to, your traditional, other groups who have come here that have tried to build civilization.
Well, if I remember correctly, if memory serves, I believe the Tiger Lords actually held a lot of territory, and now this was a long time ago, mind you. This was before, I believe, the events of... he kind of, snaps his fingers as he tries to remember exactly what era it happened in, but the long story short of it is, a long, long, long time ago, the Tiger Lords were led by a powerful chieftain by the name of Armagh, who reportedly was chosen by Gorham himself for blood and honor, and well, clearly you understand. The Tiger Lords marched through this entire region where we now sit, most of south of us, all of east, north of us, north until it gets too cold to function, basically, and all the way into Eobaria. They were only ever stopped when they made it there, and I believe it was the Centaur tribes that lived in the region at the time that were eventually able to push them back, and they just kind of never recovered. If memory further serves, I believe it was a red dragon killed Armagh so long ago. But if rumors are persisting from bits and pieces I remember of when our wagon was attacked, something about how he has been reborn, reincarnated, or otherwise back to tax this planet with blood and thunder once again. Imagine we'll see him soon. Which probably means the Lich will also see him soon, and there'll be the offer of, kill all of my enemies or I will kill you, as Bakken, coughs that accent out. Which I imagine, typically speaking, they will say something about, witchcraft, we don't like it, and then there will be a big, big fight, and then back to square one.
So that's interesting. It sounds like we may be of a power between two very ancient entities.
Something like that, yeah. We are certainly here in Concordia much bigger fish than we were a year ago. Well, it's kind of like when you're in wherever. I understand some of us probably didn't have a formal education, and that's not to take away from them, but it's like when you leave secondary school and go to university. You might have been a big fish there, and then you end up big fish in small pond becomes big fish in much bigger pond with fish of the same or greater size. We are, as the saying goes, I believe, playing with the big boys now.
As for the whole reincarnated Tiger Lord whatever, I've seen my fair share of charlatans in my time. This so-called reincarnate is checking every box in my mental checklist here of someone who is using a name and a history that they do not own or possess in order to gather followers and try to achieve their goals.
Well, of course, who's going to question it? It's that simple. And if they do question it, what do? You break their head and drink their spinal fluid. It's not a difficult concept to grasp. If you are the strongest, you get to say what you want. Similar precedent, I guess, come to think, existed with Tartuk as well. He was indeed reincarnated. Maybe not the way he wanted to be, but he got kobold lemons and made a... And the chief gets real uncomfortable as this gets brought up. I'm sorry, friend. I shouldn't have... That's on me. Point is, I'm starting to see a theme.
Now, Ionia, if this Lich's soul, its phylactery, is out there,
I mean,
does it? If it creates its, if it's what generates his body, does that mean that it, is there anything keep forcing it to actually be in this plane?
I suppose for Ionia that would be knowledge arcana, if you want a very detailed answer. No, definitely not. Matter of fact, most liches will go to great pains to protect, obfuscate, hide, or otherwise make sure that thing that their soul is inside can never, ever, in any way, shape, or form come to harm. The easiest way to do that, well, I guess I shouldn't say the easiest. One of the ways you definitely could do that is go put it in a private demi-plane or on another plane of existence entirely, or sometimes even just right under people's noses. Precedents have existed for much in the same way Voldemort used Nagini. Take your soul, entwine it in somebody's body, and right under their nose.
So it could be completely.
Spoilers.
It could be completely out of our reach.
Spoilers for 20-year-old book series might be. Shh, we don't know. What you do know is wherever the phylactery is, it's the respawn point. Basically, that's the Lich's body is being like actively rebuilt. The cells are regrowing there. So like if it was somewhere like immediately under your nose, there would be some like protoplasmic ball of Deadpool grossness, I guess, like putting itself back together there. So that's a pretty easy rule out, like looking around Concordia kind of things.
Sure. Second question then. If this Lich was to reemerge and we were to then defeat it again, is there any way, does its soul like travel back to the phylactery? Like, is there any way we could trace it back to its origin point by like the next time we encounter its physical body?
The best thing you could do on that front, you couldn't trace the soul back. The soul stays in the phylactery and makes an undead thing. There's basically a big Wi-Fi connection, and it doesn't ever ping back. The best on that front to do would probably be, the first thing that would come to Ionia's mind with the Arcana check is get your hands on one of the Lich's personal effects or DNA if possible, and then find someone to scry the Lich.
And because he vanishes into everything he is, vanishes into dust when he dies, that's easier said than done.
Not his stuff. His stuff doesn't vanish. Had he come onto the battlefield with equipment, he would have dropped it. You all could probably gather the reason that he did not was because, well, he'd drop it.
And we have a mostly human occultist.
And, like, if he's just showing up to, like, okay, you've made me mad. Like, he has no real... The only bad thing about him dying, if you don't know where his phylactery is like he could lose his, like, any magical artifacts, gear, things of that nature. So, like, other than that, the killing itself doesn't matter. He's just gonna go back in the microwave for 1d10 days and then pop back out.
Love it. Last question for Ionia that Tommy answers. Is it possible to, like, if we were to capture him and restrain him, could we prevent him from reforming in a new body?
Yes, absolutely. If you were to not, like, theoretically...
He can't like, Alt F4 his body, basically, and start and just...
I mean, he can, but like, he would need to have some means, like, he could theoretically fireball the body, and he would, like, just choose to fail the save, take the damage, and, like, just commit suicide, basically, knowing he would come back. But if you prevent his ability to cast, restrain him, burn out his spell slots, or otherwise, like, incapacitate him in some way and then essentially throw him in jail, that would work. That said, you assume that a Lich probably has contingencies against that, or at least, like, would make that difficult.
Yeah, once again, another easier said than done, but maybe easier than trying to find some alternate plane of existence.
It would objectively work.
All right. Those are my 3 questions. So no Wi-Fi ping back to the source if we find him or his next body, and but we can technically restrain him, though it would be excruciatingly difficult.
I will say it will take me a great deal of time, but I believe I can learn the spell that could be used to find him.
Do share. What is your plan?
Well, it will take me a great deal of time, but I could learn the spell that we would use to find him.
What spell? Explain how this would work.
Well, again, as I had mentioned earlier, if we could get a hold of one of the Lich's possessions, a scrying spell would be able to point us in a direction. And that is something I could do with a great deal of time.
Right, but getting a possession, like, I just don't see how this is... That's the tricky part. We need something, right?
Yeah, in the time that I'm learning the spell, we'll need to find a way to track down one of his possessions.
Indeed. Certainly, another thing that all of you can pretty reasonably assume is, like, You won't need to track down his possessions. He'll come to you. It's just a matter of like.
But when he dies, all of his stuff goes poof too, right?
Right.
Well, just him. He comes at us. He came at us naked last time. He didn't have any stuff.
Oh.
You could also like. I guess another way to put it is you could like scoop up the lich dust. That would also function. It has his DNA in it, so it helps with scrying DCs.
No. Did you happen to pick up any of that dust? Ione?
Didn't know until I was
Yeah,
so no,
same. And
It's all in the wind, as it were.
it's all in the wind at this point. All right, well, now we just need to wait for him to attack us again, I'm sure.
I knew there were answers in there when I was kicking it around with my boot.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, yeah, you did kick it, didn't you?
Yep.
Do you have any left on your boot? Or did you?
No, it's been a while, and I walked back, so maybe I rode back. Well, either way, there's nothing. It's nothing left on my boot side.
Either way, same old song.
Take a swab and let's swap your boots and see if we can pull anything off.
Enhance.
That's all right. So, all right, fine. So, in the meantime, since there's no immediate plan of action that we can take, unless we happen to magically stumble across a portal to another plane that just happens to have said lich regenerating in it, we would just have to be super vigilant for birds that are eyeballing us and other such things. So everyone needs to be on like red alert at all times, as this fiend could descend upon us, and he will likely not I feel like he severely underestimated us in our first encounter. He rushed in to face us after Arcturus pissed him off.
Sense motive checks all around.
All right. Wow, some good sense motives going on. Well, why did I?
Arcturus Vilmeyer, blessed of Abaddon. Jesus. Fair enough. So it's pretty much everybody has it. Senia maybe a little less so than everyone else, but like the gist here is you say what you say about maybe he underestimated us. No. More likely what he was doing was he was testing you. He was seeing how you would respond. He's playing chess. He's seen what your turn 1, 2, 3 in combat and mechanically is, kind of thing. And so, like, Arcturus knows he's probably going to come back with some glitter dust so he can start bombing you and prevent you from having an invisibility loop. He probably will have more answers for barbarians with bigger will saves. He may have more control spells because there's so many of you. He may bring more Cyclops because you are capable of chewing them apart in 6 seconds, so on and so forth.
He was feeling us.
The point, whether it's underestimating or feeling us out, the end result is the same. The next time, what Tommy said, the next time we see him, I would expect him to be far more fearsome of a threat than he was in our first encounter. So do not get overconfident at our victory, because that overconfidence will be our death. And if we die, our citizens die with us, all however many thousands of them there are now.
Well, I can think of only one thing to do.
Abandon the keep?
Yep.
GTFO!
Get the fuck out of this kingdom.
I'm going back to Cheliax. Fuck this. The Hell Knights are less scary. Travel domain!
Kalira.
Yes.
How many Ash Maidens do you have at your disposal right now?
10.
Okay, good talk.
I'm trying to think here. Did we want to? I know Tommy said that it might make sense to.
If you guys would like to cover a wider search vector, I have, like, what I'm going to do is if you are a generic or less than 4 hit dice NPC, like the Ash Maidens are just going to use, like, the level 2 Barbarian from the NPC Codex, which I think actually is a gnome. But, like, Grinluke's sheet is ready to go, the Chiefs is ready to go, Balkans and Jubilosts have been for a while. Just so, like, it becomes not as mechanically detrimental to split the party.
Sure. Question. There's like, did we? Oh, we already explored that. That crypt to the east. That was where the white was, right?
Yes, that is the home place of Death to all Fae.
Okay, I was like, there's a crypt over there we haven't explored yet, but yes, I didn't. Okay.
In Alcat Games Kingmaker, that crypt has much more soot scale situation stuff in it because that makes more sense with the plot at large. And really, just I need to get Chris Avalone on the horn and have him GM the rest of this for me because that one is so much better than the way they wrote this AP. End rant.
Fair enough.
There it is.
Though I don't think we need to split up. What do we have to hit? We have the keep. We have the key that supposedly, potentially,
Definitely.
just treasure in the troll's lair.
Should take care of that before somebody else clears it out.
If they haven't already.
Oh, how little they know.
Have our back stolen. I'd like to not lose more of easy treasure.
Easy treasure. Very well. So then, as far as defense back home, I guess then we could. We have the Ash Maidens. We have Grinluke. Soot Scale. Jubilost and Bakken.
Fish and Rich.
That's right. All right. Well, I will.
Dazia would probably be inclined to help as well.
Oh, she's still around.
Oh,
I mean, she's not like dead.
No, I meant I thought
that kind of thing.
her and her people. I thought her and her people left.
They kind of like her people come and go. Like those who have come post Old Boy's attack are staying for safety's sake. Dazia is, we'll say she's findable usually all the time because she's like an important-ish NPC.
She can hold person with the best of them.
Oh, she can.
In fact, just cast that on the Lich and then.
Hers was the hardest sheet to get together for this because, like, building a full caster of more levels than the party and not outshining the party, that was hard.
What level is she?
Oh, it's a number.
What is this question?
It's more dull at metagaming.
It's about the same as the Stag Lord's AC, give or take.
There it is.
Fair enough.
We have so we were going to send some scouts to try and look to mark locations for the floating stones and maybe the origin point of the undead birds to the south, right?
Oh, that's right.
And then we were going to proceed to the abandoned keep in Troll's Lair.
I wonder if that was all just to throw us off.
I mean, would Ionia be more interested in the floating rocks stuff, or would she be more interested in the keep and the troll lair?
More interested in the floating rocks, but Ionia is also smart and understands that more gear means better chance of survival.
True. Just it's going to take a few days each direction, and then a few days back. We could have Lich on us by then. We could. It might actually make sense to split up. Is what I'm thinking, but.
I think we should, if there's an opportunity to gear up, that will help us with everything that's coming.
I mean, you're not going to miss out on the gear. If there's any gear there, you'll get it when we return.
Sure, but imagine we send one group east to check out the stones, and then the other group is west getting the gear, and then the Lich pops up on the on the group that doesn't have the gear. You know what I mean? I think we should do that first and then worry about splitting up.
I mean, we don't even know if there's any good gear in there at all. Could just be a big waste of time, but all right. I mean, let's put it to vote. Who thinks we should split up and cover more ground? I'm indifferent, really. I just think both tactics have merit. So
I'm kind of with you.
I mean, it's quite obvious. If there's any group that's going to be attacked by the Lich, it's going to be whatever group is with the priest. So,
Mm-hmm.
true. He was the one that.
So yes, we should split up.
All right, I got a no vote of 1 vote. Senya?
The faster we find him, well, we still have that I don't on the one hand we can cover more ground when we're split up. On the other hand, we're stronger in numbers. So
Yeah, but we'll have NPC escorts too. If we split up, if we go together, we'll need. I think we need to leave the NPCs to guard.
Somebody should probably watch Concordia. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I was thinking we'd send. Maybe like Arcturus, Ionia, Grin Luke.
If we split up, we should split up in a way that protects our less martial people.
I feel like Kalir and I will go with different groups. And then I could take Jubilost and...
Ooh, does that mean I get to be captain? I pick Boomkin. Come here, you little green freak. It's me and you.
What did you just call me?
Boomkin, it's cute.
What is this, World of fucking Warcraft? Fine. He turns into a strange purple owlbear with horns, and off we go.
Sick balance.
Just out of curiosity, Kato, what's with this new love for Jubilost? Really on the Jubilost train today.
It's a fine train. It is objectively the best train in all of Concordia. Fuck, I wish I could clap. I can't clap. I'm holding down the push to talk button. This NPC is stupid now. Bah!
Well...
Mostly just because I need to keep him alive, because, you know, the last time he tried to pick a fight with with an ogre, he almost died, so, and I had to bail him out.
Oh shit. Giant.
There is literally a half-orc paladin of Abadar art, and that is exactly why Grinluke exists.
That's Grimlook.
I'm just putting the tokens on the board so we can make a quick split.
I'm pretty sure the last time he almost got himself killed, I was the one to bail him out.
That's true. We both bailed him out once. He's basically never been able to earn his keep yet.
My vote is also to split up, but I believe that Ionia would be safer without me at this point. So I would request that we were in different.
Don't you have some sworn charge to protect her?
Exactly.
That's what he's saying. If the Lich is after him, then he'll keep her away from him.
Fine. Ionia can come with me.
Don't sound so excited about it, you know? We were friends once.
Once. All right. I'm gonna write out the split here. There's gonna be 2 away teams and a home team to stay here.
What color shirt is everyone wearing today? I hear away team, and I'm oh no, oh no.
Finest of red fabrics.
Oh. So NPC wise, we have like, I don't have tokens necessarily for like the little ones. That works on several levels given their gnomes, but you understand. But as far as the big ones that will make impactful differences, probably unless you want to take like all 10 Ash Maidens, the Chief, Grinlug, Bakken, Jubilost, and as far as who is assembled, that would be the best choices. And also, I guess, to quickly establish, one of the reasons Bakken is talking less now is, in an out-of-game sense, y'all are a little more experienced than when I first met you, so I don't necessarily feel the need to interject with, hey, do this. That said, if you want to ask the NPCs to make knowledge checks, they can and will do so.
Sounds good.
So, man, it sucks that the party's an odd number of players. So I guess Ionia can stay home and watch over the kingdom.
Only if I can.
No, what you do is Ionia just rides on someone's objectively larger mount and then Arcane eyes with the other group. No, it's only a mile. Never mind. Damn.
All right, clear Artor. Well, I'm putting clear and Artoris together. That's
Don't do that.
But Grinleak as well.
No, that's
No.
still a really bad idea.
I would say
All right, well, here's the thing. Kalira and I are split. So,
And it sounds like Kalira wants to take Bakken.
sure. So here's how I've
Knowing, I think putting in character, knowing that the Lich offered Kalira a deal to that seems really unwise to put us in the same group.
yeah. But then if I switch us, well, I guess I could just switch Kalira and me. But then she would lose. So Ionia and Jubilost are joined at the hip, so
Well, actually,
I guess I could trade.
because he and I fill a similar role.
That's true. So we could go Kalira. Oh yeah, let's put the witch. Yeah, let's put the witch with Kalira. That'll create some interesting possibilities.
What is this in character? This dude is freaking accusing me of planning to assassinate him.
No, it's just sort of like, in my opinion, this would just be like a natural sort of.
Based on the conversation that we recently had, I would also insist that our
Remember when she saved you in your temple when
That was before there was a lich offering her an answer to all her problems if only she killed.
That's not what happened. He offered to bring back my children as fucking zombies. What are you talking about?
Was that the offer?
Yes, that's what he said afterwards.
we will then. All right, fine. Let's trade Ionia and Jubilost for Arcturus and.
Well, wait. If that was the offer, then I'm not as worried about it. Like if like in character, like if I would know that Kalira is all against this guy, then we're fine.
Out of character, and before Kalira gets dominated and Arcturus dies.
Against a magic user. What is this? What is this character assassination going on right now?
I must have missed or forgotten the second half of like, oh yeah, what I meant by that was there'll be. So I I thought that it was still like a legit like, hey, got this thing for you. You'll really like it. Just kill that guy that you already kind of don't like. If that was the state of the offer, I'm a little nervous.
And Old Boy had to back it up with domination. Like Kalira did refuse.
Right.
And then he's like, "Fine, I'll force your hand."
She said time to think now, so I don't know. Yeah. But if that was the state of things, then.
Okay, so I see Ionia has proposed Kato, Arcturus, Bach and Jubilost and Ionia. And then the other 3 is the Barbarians and Grinluke.
So 5 and 3.
Still leaves the Chief behind.
Okay, so Ionia is supposed to be in the second group. It's just the message broke it up, but there's a space between Jubilost and Ionia.
Oh, got it. Bam.
Just posted it with 2 messages.
Yeah, I don't. Not sure about this. See.
My reasoning. I trust Kalira less with Artoris right now. I think it
Right.
makes sense to have me and Jubilost split up because we kind of fill a similar function. And I think it would make sense that since Artoris can't be looking after me himself, to have Grinluke, another man that my father would probably approve of looking over me in the group with me.
But then Bakken doesn't get to run with Kalira, and that was kind of like what they wanted. Maybe switch Bakken and Senya.
Another, I suppose, I don't want to make too fine a point on it, but mechanically speaking, if we put the small characters and the folks with mounts and animal companions together, you can kind of cover ground a little quicker. Just because, like, theoretically, like, Bakken could cramble onto Minoru's back and Jubilost could ride, like, in the front of the saddle like a little baby. And then, no, I guess in that scenario, it
could actually ride Minoru if we got a saddle before we left.
Exactly. See, we're gonna get that halfling game after all. We're doing this. It's canon. It begins with Matty.
Oh god. I'm like,
He's gonna kill all of our characters and have halfling NPCs ready for us to take control.
I'm ready for it. Let's do this.
Aw, yeah.
I bomb this party.
But especially like, and I guess I'm saying this because it would be kind of common knowledge for everyone, especially like in this region where there's not a lot of swampiness, you could just like take off.
Well, the group out here in the going east can take the carriage too.
Also that. I forget that thing exists.
Same.
Whereas those going through the gnarl marshes are going to need to kind of hoof it a
Have
little.
horses, dogs, or the travel domain. Because Artoris has a base speed of 40 IRC.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever is going west should take Chester, though.
Chester is bolted to the carriage.
Chester's gotta go wester.
We can't take the carriage into the swamp.
If only you had a bag of holding.
Well, whoever's going west needs to swing by Amalia's hut to see if
I have a
what's going on.
wagon. What are you talking about? It's fun.
The biggest bag of holding.
It's magic wagon.
I would actually prefer to be part of the group that goes to Amalia's hut.
I think everybody would. That's why.
I think it actually probably makes most sense for me to go east.
All right. The Ionia group is going to go east. The Artoris group is going to go west. That would end up. All right. So let me just a little more deliberating here. Yeah. Yeah. So I would switch Bakken and Senya with Ionia's recommendation and say that sounds good. So West group will be Cato, Artoris, Senya, Jubilost. East will be Ionia, Kalira, Bakken, Grinluke.
Alrighty, and is the plan to leave Chief Sootscale in Concordia? Or in Fort Staggrave, I should say.
Chief Sootscale will be acting regent while we're gone.
He has leadership experience.
He does have leadership experience.
You can put in a kobold as regent.
Yeah.
We gotta be. We fired Kalira earlier. Now we're putting kobolds in charge of the state. The Civil War's gonna happen. We were talking about it earlier. This is how it begins.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
Kingdom of kobolds now. Get the kidneys.
The Ash Maidens can patrol the kingdom, the settlements, to make sure that they're secure. There's 4 settlements and 10 Ash Maidens. So 3, 2, and 2.
Plus, probably like, I don't want to put, mostly because in the session 0, this group elected to not make the mass combats very mechanical. but probably about 50%-ish of the population is of fighting age, and most of the people here are like, they're hardy enough and have had to like hunt and live in shitty conditions to survive. So like they're all pretty capable of defending themselves. You have about 1,000 troops at your disposal now.
Wow.
That said, they're all in a mechanical sense. If somebody yeets a fireball into them, everyone in the area effect is wispy. But
We learned.
as we learned.
All
We
right.
haven't seen any foes that can cast fireballs, though. We should be fine.
Never happened. Not even-
Nah.
Fireball has ever been.
One well-placed fangberry bush, and the entire militia is fucked.
All right. So that is the split. Cool. So I know West team we're going to start with Amalia's hut, and then we'll move west out to the abandoned keep from there.
Okay. And East team?
Does the West group take the key with the skull?
Yeah, we have the key.
Okay. Alright, cool.
Skull that may or may not have ever existed.
We actually don't know if that key was in a skull or not at this point.
Need to go back and watch the tape.
Yeah.
Go watch.
I want Tibor to be right. I'll say that much.
Sure, fine. Tibor is correct. The chest is just out. Like he got it at Hot Topic for $15. It's just this really shitty skull that you open. That also is about 45% of my wardrobe. I just added myself way too hard. But okay, so we want the four of you to first head to Amalia's hut, and fromst there, we will ride to the Troll's Keep to loot the place, as you do.
We'll investigate the hut first.
Okay.
Has Amalia returned? Is the hut still standing?
Those are questions we'll answer in a second. East team.
I actually would like to talk to the king at the end of this meeting.
Okay.
Privately.
Sure.
Well, before we cut to that, what are Kalira and Ionia's plans? Where are we headed? What are we looking for?
So I thought the floating stones were like up closer in this area. Is that right?
Yeah, more like here-ish, but you got the idea. I suppose now we've come back to, again, like, if you want to find where this is, we are literally back to Hexploration. Explore a tile. Make a perception check. There are going to be so many Book 2 encounters around here that are like CR3 that Kalira is just going to look at funny, and then they explode and die.
So I think we want to take the road up over Nettles Crossing, and then probably just go directly towards the mountain. Would be my recommendation.
Tibor, sound good?
Yep.
Alrighty. So then, any role-playing questions, comments, concerns, things to purchase, questions to ask your NPCs, formal meetings with all of the town, the last round of porridge made from moon radishes before you all die miserable deaths all alone, / tearful goodbyes. That would be a good time.
Wow.
I would need some potions made from Bakken, though. I do need that.
Okay, cool. He's going with you, and if you're taking the wagon, he can theoretically just like set up his shop somewhere and go to work. It just takes him a couple hours.
Oh, we got the carriage. They got the wagon. Yes. The horses.
Yeah, we loaded Chester up onto a wagon, and you guys get the ride in style through the plains. We gotta trudge through the goddamn swamp.
I did not break my wagon.
No promises. What can I do you for, Kalira?
What is going on with you? Like these little meetings you're having with the priests. Are you one of these scale weighing coin counters now?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Look, we had a deal, yes?
As far as I'm aware, that deal is still on the table. Yes.
Yes. It's on the deal. It's on the table as long as you're in power. From where I sit, it seems like the priest is gaining more power every day. And that is a concern for me.
You don't trust our high priest.
I don't trust anyone.
Fair point.
But what I know is that he doesn't need you. All he cares about is his grand ideal in his grand city. It doesn't matter who's sitting on the throne to him, does it? As long as Abadar's will, or whatever he calls it, is being like you're effectively removing both me and Sania from the capital. We're far away. You're here, surrounded by a bunch of Abadar knights. So what happens if you act against the will of Abadar? Who speaks with the voice of Abadar and Concordia?
Your paranoia is quaint, but misplaced.
Okay, and what do you have in place to protect yourself? Exactly.
Did you not see the group of fighters that gather in this courtyard every day?
Your dancing troupe.
They can hold their own, as can I. And the priest...
against a Tyre city guard. Look, Cato, I'm leveling with you here. I have never once told you how to rule or what to do. In fact, I've supported you in all your choices, darling, but especially the more interesting ones. But I don't feel the priest feels the same way. I'm just looking out for you. And by extension, me. But mostly you.
Cato snickers a bit for a moment. As I said, your paranoia is misplaced. The high priest is loyal. He has proven that loyalty time and time again. I do not question it, and it is of no concern. As for the faith,
sorry.
As for the faith, you have seen the power and the wonders that have come from Abadar. Roads springing into existence merely at his will. The blessings that have rained down upon us, strengthening us and honing us in combat. We owe Abadar much. This kingdom owes Abadar much. And if it is going to be the primary religion of this kingdom, then it only makes sense that that presence is integrated, root to stem. I did not come here a religious man. I cared little for deities and worship. All I cared about was my sword and myself, really. However, I would be lying if I said I'm not slowly becoming a believer.
So you believe that you owe this god?
I believe he makes a powerful ally, and it would be foolish not to embrace that.
Just be careful when this god has his due. Because if you remember, when you were dying in this very castle, it wasn't Abadar who saved you that day, was it? And Claire turns and walks out.
Alrighty. Anybody else got anything else they want to put forward, or tearful goodbyes, things of that nature, or do we 3, 2, 1 break?
Jubilost, I'll miss you.
I will miss you too, well, why did I go into Chief Sitscale? Because I'm playing a bard who I'm using that voice for in Rune Lords. My dear, and he moves forward. I will miss you as well. And you, Minoru, scritch. Do try not to die, would you? There's the level of intellectual disparity between myself, and I am trying to put a very big staccato in my voice to sound like clapping, because I cannot clap while I push to talk. This is the worst timeline. The level of intellectual disparity betwixt myself, the rulers, and the general population of... Suffice to say, my friend, I would miss you.
Likewise. And I definitely understand. I would go mad without you. So likewise, don't die.
He nods.
Meet back here and break.
3, 2, 1, break. Alrighty. So the first thing that would happen, I guess I'll move them kind of wibbly wobbly. Well, you guys are covering 2 to 1. You guys would get about here-ish by the time squad gets to Amalia's hut. A day passes. The team that arrives at Amalia's hut can roll perception.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm hanging. Wahahaha.
Alrighty, so you get back, and a lot of time has passed since y'all came here. The bodies have, like, there's no trace of the Hell Knight bodies. They are all super gone, and it seems like nature has basically reclaimed the place. The gardens are overgrown. Various creeping vines and things have run up and down the fence row and the hut itself. It doesn't, as y'all go looking around, and Arcturus and Sedia are both pretty apt, doesn't really look like, other than presumably, but you can't really be sure, the Hell Knight Order coming to reclaim the Fallen, like nobody's been here. Perhaps you can find occasionally, like, the tracks of a wild wolf or something.
So the Hell Knight corpse is gone?
Yeah.
It was reclaimed. Okay. Can we dig around to see if there happens to be a bag of holding anywhere?
You definitely don't find it. It looks like all of Amalia's, like, magic-y witchy stuff was either, like, she took it when she tree strode out, or the Hell Knights have confiscated it.
Robbed.
Our poor bag of holding probably has witch bits in it now.
Yeah. Do bag of holdings have, like, is there any actual capacity to them, or is it truly?
Yeah, it's got capacity.
Yes, they have capacities based on the type you paid for.
Oh, that's right. So, depending on how full the Hell Knight's bag of holding was getting with witch corpses, yeah, they might have been like, oh, cool. This one was getting full anyway. All right, well,
Amalia might be inside our bag of holding.
It's possible.
We'll never know because we never looked inside.
What? No, the other one.
the other, like, our actual bag.
Oh,
Definitely was not in the first one. We figured that much out.
right. Oh,
Right now.
Maybe now, but, you know. All right, fine.
Well, guess we can level this place and build a McDonald's over it.
You can, in fact, pave paradise and put up a parking lot here, and the witch will not get mad about it.
Wow, that's good. I mean, there's a lot of plains here. Like, it's not complete forest like the tiles further in, so it would actually make sense.
It's not a bad one to claim, yeah.
Yeah, it's on.
you really want to claim that tower?
Move towards
You know me
Candleman.
so well.
Candleman Tower, yeah. But priorities, right? Elk first. We made a promise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, rip.
Rip indeed. I guess if the squad that has a more direct, like, we are going straight to this, if you could draw on the hexes, your route, that would be helpful. And Ionia, Kalira, same kind of for you, except for like the route is a little less. Never mind. It's much more direct than I thought. Dope. Just take a beeline.
For you. Go.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Those mountains are going to be bear. You both just, all right, cool, great. That makes it so much easier for Tommy. So then that means a day has passed there. A day passes. I'm just going to move the 1 token for ease's sake. A day passes here as you cross further into the Canelands, and a day is probably about like that. So then the next stimulus that would happen would be if folks who are going in this group, if you want to search the hex, it's a perception check. Otherwise, we can just straight on.
I'll search.
Might as well explore some hexes while we're out here doing stuff. We'd have to come back to get them otherwise.
Oh, Tibor, your token's broken.
Yep.
Uh-oh. That might have been on me. Might be. I will fix later. Roll20 decided to update a lot of its stuff, and so the dynamic lighting has been weird, and I might have just at some point dragged somebody back in the wrong way. In any case, let me open a book we haven't thought about in a very long time and see if there's anything in that hex. There very well might be. Certainly you would find it, and I guess more to the point of what you're looking for, when night falls, you see the event that is described by the folks in the tower at the old Sycamore. Just like off in the distance, there is strange flashes of light that like just kind of roll across the hills, and what looks like especially like as the moon rises, and the moon's pretty full tonight, shapes moving around in the dark that are pretty big.
Can I knowledge checks on those?
Yeah, sure. There are several. I'll let it be the knowledge check of your choice.
Let's start with an Arcana, and I'll use the book on this.
Okay, so then that comes down to a 39 then.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's very clear to Ionia what you're seeing is someone is using magic, probably 5 or 6 someones at the same time, given how much is, if you can see it from here, how big it has to be, is being moved. Someone is doing not unlike what Bakken helped you do so long ago, levitating large objects in such a way as to build something.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And then I guess maybe like a history to get an idea of, history or local, to get an idea of who that might be.
Yeah, sure. Either's fine.
And again, I'll use the book on that.
Alrighty. So the first thing, I guess a couple things probably come to your mind here. Because what we're seeing is very clearly, there are a lot of big players right now in the Stolen Lands, and this would be the tactics of a bigger player, right? They are using magic clearly to build some kind of fortification, some kind of permanent structure. A lich might want to do this, maybe, if the lich is feeling confident enough now that the lich can start building like overtly, then yeah, sure, certainly they would have the power to do it. The Hell Knights would as well, if they're trying to set up a more permanent location here. It could even be like Restov is building an outpost.
Well, I don't like any of that.
Probably not friends, no.
We'd have to get within a mile of one of them for me to see who they are. I'll share this information with Clera.
Grinluke is probably just happily polishing his armor while Bakken is making potions.
All right. Well, then I suppose we should keep going then, shouldn't we?
Well, I suppose we should.
So a day passes for y'all. I will just bop the other team over to the next most important thing as I need to clearly open up my Travel in the Stolen Lands handout. It's been so long. Oh my. Alrighty. All other terrains, crossing a hex, moving at that speed takes you about 6 hours. So that's dope. So that means you could get to the abandoned keep in a day, it seems, give or take. You don't need to make perception checks. You see it pretty fast. The keep is built on a hill. It's in various states of ruin, disrepair. But there is very clearly a much more recent fixture has been added. I go to Google the thing. I will give you a better description as I go to Google it, but I don't necessarily need to ask for checks because Senia would be able to identify the banner of the Tiger Lords pretty readily.
The Tiger Lords. That is their banner there. We should tread carefully.
So we're in this text right now?
You are like, I put you on the hex of the abandoned keep, but like I moved you one over so I didn't put you over top of things.
Because we have already explored this. Sorry, I was covering up the markers saying this hex was already explored. I was like, we want to explore the hex on the way, but it's already done. Cool. Proceed. Okay. So we see the keep with the flag being flown, and it's the Tiger Lord's flag.
Yeah, probably like a whatever Gorham's sacred colors are, those, and then in the center, just a profile of the head of a Smilodon with the fangs are a little more greatswordy. So that's red and gray. There it is.
But it does appear abandoned.
No, it appears it looks like it's in disrepair. They haven't rebuilt it, but it's been claimed. Matter of fact, you guys arrive kind of late in the day as the math goes there. Like you can see torchlight.
Oh, okay.
So the
great.
keep is no longer that much abandoned.
That's what we get for being late to find it.
Goes to
All right, so
Arias. What's gonna happen?
is there a so we see it out in the distance. What's the surrounding area look like? Is it like in the middle? Like is it obscured by trees and stuff, or is it in like a clearing?
Yeah, more or less. Think like Amenhead from Fellowship, that kind of thing. Right, you're in the middle of nowhere, and then a hill rises up in the middle of nowhere, and so we've built a keep on top of it.
I want that keep.
You want all the keeps!
You want the keeps and the towers and all the things.
You could say Arcturus is playing for keeps.
Playing for keeps.
Arcturus,
Yes.
I think you could. How long can you go invisible for? How long does invisibility last?
Minute per level?
Yep, that's right. Minutes per level.
So 8 minutes per cast.
Huh.
So up to...
Is that enough time to scout the to see if there are sentries?
Well, I'm kind of curious. So Jubilost, when you were here last, there were no Tiger Lords here?
No, not at all. Completely abandoned.
Oh, I forgot Jubilost is here. Hey, Jubilost.
Hello! Clap!
Sorry, you kind of get underfoot. Rude.
I thought about taking a level of Mouse or Swashbuckler so I could do just that, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, either Jubilost or myself could probably get a closer look.
just to get a count of, like, a body count, not to obviously do anything other than that. I just want to know how fortified this position is.
Is there like a front window that I could peer through or anything like that?
Not quite.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I could send an Zivon Q. Perlavash pops his head out from around Jubilos's shoulder. What do you think, little one? How do you feel about trolling some angry 6'5" muscle-bound lugs? Perlavash chirps happily. Just like the good old days when you did it to Kalira. Oh, those stories. Scritches him.
Yeah, you almost got yourself cleaved in half for that stunt you pulled back then.
Perlavash kind of just like ducks under Jubilost's head. There's a little like half snicker from like inside Jubilost's hair. Jubilost like kind of he thinks it is objectively funny, but is trying not to laugh because it's serious business, and he has like he's at work right now.
All right. Well, if you think your friend is up to the task,
To say nothing of Arbiter.
oh, that's true too.
We've got so many pets here.
Let's send the little floating. Jubilost can go invisible too, can't he? Not
Yeah.
Jubilost. Perlavash, I mean.
Both of them can.
Probably Perlavash can. All right. And he can fly. He's probably a lot faster. He could do a quick lap around the keep and back again, invisible, before it wears off, I imagine.
Yeah. Okay, so are we sending just Perlavash, or do we want to bop the Arbiter over too?
Just Perlavash.
Alrighty.
Well, because Arbiter can't cast invisibility at will or anything like that.
Mm,
It's wand of
There's a
it.
wand of vanish, but that's 12 seconds.
Oh,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
fair. All
Okay.
right, cool.
So probably takes about in total to fly up there, scoot a boot, and fly back. Probably about 30 minutes. Perlavash comes back, lands on Jubilost's outstretched arm, and there's a bit of chittering back and forth. Well, if my friend is to be believed, he counts a full... Oh, it's hard to say. Turns out those towers and there are like 5 towers in the keep that from the outside look pretty not the best. But turns out they're much more intact, and there very well could be folks inside, judging from the lights coming. I assume this is where people are eating, sleeping, or otherwise carrying on. That said, look to be about a dozen of them. There's also, in the center of the keep, seems to be a more recent addition. It's akin to that, you know what Kalira put in the barracks?
Mm.
One of those. Seems to be, I would assume this may be, perhaps they have converted this into a temple, sacred to our Lord in Iron. Perhaps this is some sort of forward staging camp where you come to be blessed with the blood of the innocent before you take the blood of the innocent. I don't know, it's a whole thing. In any case, it's certainly there.
My lord, might I suggest you go up to the front gates, humbly request that they leave, and if they refuse, we open fire.
You really think we can take that many of them? Just the 4, 5, 6, if you count Grom, of us?
With face. Worse odds.
I feel pretty confident.
Perhaps.
I could challenge their leader to an honorable 1v1, and if we win, they
leave.
They leave.
Honestly, he certainly would probably agree to it if any of the Kelid tribal traditions are to be believed. That said, God damn it. I had the Discord open at the wrong time. That said, should you happen to win, they're just as likely to respect it and honorably leave as how do I put this? Descend upon us all and rip us limb from limb and hang us from the walls of the keep. They're about a 50-50 shot. Most of us can go invisible or have a horse.
It might be a better idea to send me as the taunt. I have a history with them.
Yeah, history of being slaughtered.
Easy. My dear, Sometimes our Lord speaks out of turn. Obviously, this is difficult for her. Remind me, why exactly did they go about this?
Why exactly did they what now?
I don't mean to put too fine a point on it, but the events in your past. Why did they do this again?
Because our tribe did not agree to, I guess, assimilation. The Tiger Lords have swept over my ancestral homelands, absorbing all the various tribes and consolidating their power. Our chief preferred, and our tribe preferred to be left alone and to go about our traditional ways, but the Tiger Lords did not see that as they saw that as a threat, and they have decided that if we were not to assimilate, we were to be wiped out.
Indeed, and so often that is how it goes. Do what I say or I'll kill you. Often the rule of law in this part of the world is not of law, but of the biggest biceps. My condolences.
Did Perlavash notice how fortified is the keep? Is it like sealed shut? Would we have to contend with a locked gate? Or I know you said there are functioning watchtowers, but what's the rest of the defensive structure look like?
There's a bit of a chitter-chatter back and forth. My esteemed colleague informs me that yes, there is indeed a gate, and they appear to have closed the thing. Not sure why, given that there are a couple of pretty gaping holes in the wall. 5 towers all told, and you can see them. There's one at, like, the keep itself is circular shaped, and then there's, like, 4 on the, like, if it was a square, the corners, and then 1 in the center, which seem to be mostly intact, I imagine. Lots of javelins, arrows, and other bits and pieces of pointy ouchiness raining down on us the whole way, should we decide to, well, bring blood to blood for the blood god. That said, I suppose the only thing you'd really have to contend with is the clambering over rubble of a long ruined keep's walls. Could be not the easiest climb. I've slidden down my fair share of gravel, certainly.
You mentioned large gaping holes.
Yes, the holes are, like, there is a hole in the wall, but the ruins of the wall are still there. They're just left where they fall. There is no physical barrier. You could climb up them, but you would be climbing, rather than up a wall, you'd be climbing up, like, a pile of gravel, loose stones, things like that. Perhaps if my lord's footwork is to be believed, you could just hop, skip, jump over the top. That's it.
Oh, I'm sure I probably could. It's the rest.
Personally, if this is the plan, I probably will just jump on Grom and let Grom bulldoze his way through.
Yeah, I'm thinking ideally having someone sneak in through one of the holes and then, like, open the gate from the inside. You know, that, like, a Trojan horse kind of plan?
Ah, yes, indeed. I'm very familiar with planet Earth's history.
Planet Earth?
Technically,
what
Earth is a
this?
knowledge. It's a knowledge geography check. It canonically exists in another one of the APs, and you go to a part of it to kill a famous person because Baba Yaga, basically. Baba Yaga.
Very interesting. All right, so there's about a dozen. They've got a fortified position with watchtowers and likely would rain death upon us as we approached. Our best way of trying to get in would be to climb over essentially what is a dilapidated wall. I mean, as much as I think that would be loads of fun, I'm not quite so sure that's our. It's the smartest of tactics.
They do have a fortified position, so we're at a disadvantage.
Our Taurus has been unusually silent. What are your thoughts? Clearly, there's
I mean,
a shrine of
this
chaos.
can't stand.
Right.
For many reasons. It seems Senya and I both have a particular interest in removing this from existence.
Also, the way Cato sees it too is, as far as his only relationship so far with, or interaction with the Tiger Lords, was like the ambushing of our caravans and things of that nature. So even from a political standpoint, like getting a shot back at them would definitely be high on his list of wants as well.
The defaced sisters were also allied with them.
Right.
Huge person.
If we were to attack, I think our best our best plan would be to create a distraction first, and perhaps have someone sneak into the gatehouse to open the gate. I've seen Parlavash's abilities to create illusions that were very real, and if he were to create an illusion that were to distract the dwellers of the keep, and someone else were to open the gate for us, I think that would be the best chances for us to get rid of the Tiger Lord Scourge.
I wonder if
I can cast invisibility on other people, by the way. I could make you invisible, Cato.
for 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not much time to sneak around a keep and find a lever.
If you're good.
If I had the layout of the,
Sure.
if I had a map, depending on how, I mean, even just ignoring the need to open the gate necessarily, even just a distraction, an illusion to draw the attention while we get a head start on making it to the opening would give us a leg up, I think, that we need. His illusion, Perlavash's illusions were extremely effective against us when he was our enemy. So, Jubilos, do you think this is something that your friend could do? Create a suitable distraction while the rest of us make an approach to the keep, where the wall is its weakest.
We could certainly try. He kind of like looks back up at the keep, looks at all of you, looks at Perlavash. Perlavash is a little worried, but like nods energetically as the like we're doing this vibe overtakes the little guy.
I think if we can get in, we're fine. Like, that's my only concern is the approach. Whether it's 5 Tiger Lords or 50 Tiger Lords, I will slay them all. It's just, I don't want to die trying to,
It is indeed very foolish to so needlessly die a hero's death, especially now.
Yes.
The last we need is a second enemy on our front. Well, so then...
However, we also can't have this. This keep was abandoned 8 months ago. It is now lightly fortified and in a state of semi-repair. If we just leave, the next time we come back, it could have twice the numbers and fully rebuilt walls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I almost feel like ignoring it is also just as risky as it is to clear this out now. I think it's just as risky too.
Theoretically, yes. On the one hand, we would strike the Tiger Lords presumably a major blow by slaying some of their warriors and running them out of not 2 hops, skips, and jumps from our fine nation. On the other hand, I suppose one should ask, are we ready to provoke the Tiger Lord's wrath? I don't think they'll take it sitting down. I certainly wouldn't. Come into my house, kill 14 of my best friends, and run me out of my house. What am I going to do? I'm going to bring 36 of my best friends, and, well, blood must have blood.
True. But for all we know, this is a staging point for an imminent attack anyway.
Entirely possible.
So I would rather draw first blood than have first blood drawn upon us.
If you do not strike first, indeed you will be first struck.
Plus, I think it would be more than possible, assuming we clear the entire place out, to mask who may have cleared it out.
Oh no.
It'll be some time before they realize, too, that they're...
Oh no, Senya fully intentionally plans to.
Senya is halfway to the keep.
Well, maybe they'll think think it was Divicus.
Senya definitely plans to like draw some stag graffiti on the walls.
Well, no, we're going to repurpose this keep for our use.
Yeah, let's...
Well, we're gonna need to claim these tiles first.
This is the Viceroy's chamber. Simple enough.
Not yet.
She's not getting her own castle. Let's just...
No, that's only Arcturus. Arcturus gets all the castles. No one else can have them.
Actually, this might actually be a good place for like that government building. But anyway, the Viceroy's castle, yeah, or the Viceroy's keep. Dude, we're gonna build you a grand cathedral, so don't worry. Like you're gonna have your own super building
It's a
too.
completely separate thing, and you know it.
Okay. With that said, let's do this. All right. Illusion. Perlavash, what can you do? What is the plan? What kind of monstrous threat can you present at the front gates to draw their attention while we sneak around the back?
Well, frankly, we're only really limited by our creativity, if I'm honest with you. What did you have in mind? Once upon a time, I might have tried to distract a giant owl, but well, Arcturus remembers. Could do that again. Perhaps that would cause them all to run out in force.
Can we create an illusion that was created first of like a stag to taunt them? A stag maybe goring their god to taunt them.
I think this is all very elaborate. I think we just need something that's going to...
Senya wants vengeance.
I mean, that's not that elaborate. That's you take deer, you take that image of a very large, burly man in lots of armor with glowy red eyes, and stabby. That's easy enough. Certainly, if I saw that, I'd be running and ready to go.
All right, well, is that what we're doing? That's what we're doing.
We feel confident enough to go storm the gates?
Oh, we're not going to storm the gate.
It's a metaphor. I mean, what I mean is we feel confident enough to go engage in combat without half of the council.
We are engaging this keep. We cannot let this stand. And if we strike now, they'll be weaker than if we strike later. I'm pretty confident. I feel like now is probably is an opportune time to make our move.
Reasonable.
I know Senya wants blood. Arcturus wants to destroy this wretched shrine of chaos. So I think we're all in. I don't think anyone opposed except maybe Jubilas is like, okay.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed. I simply only speak breaking the fourth wall. Because half the squad is somewhere else right now.
Right.
I digress. So plan is you want me, or rather, my boy, he scritches Perlavash, to go make an illusion once the enemy has run forth screaming from the fort. Then remind me, what then is the plan? Someone sneaks in, opens the gate.
No, I think we're just going to use that to as a cover to approach so that we can all get into the fort through the gaping hole, so that we have the basically we don't want to be approaching while they're like watching us and raining like death upon us.
Yes. Indeed.
So Perlavash has identified an area of the wall that we could enter through.
Yeah.
We have that kind of, and then so what we are going to do is we're going to distract them away from that side. Use the illusion to distract them away from that side of the wall, so that we can sneak around and attempt to get inside.
Okay. So you want them to... Right, I got it. Okay, cool. We can do that. Alrighty. And so it was. Perlavash goes flying out. Probably about 10 minutes or so passes, I want to say. Yeah. Here's a secret D20 roll. Okay. And a lot of them. Okay, here we go. Happy times for everybody. Blam, blam. Okay. The illusion appears in the, I guess in the sky would be the only place you could really see it from the keep, given that there's like, we're on a hill above marshlands. Everyone sees it light up, a la Rainbow Road is the first thing that comes to my mind, of Gorham drawing a sword, and then just like a onyx stag with glowing starry eyes comes and just gores it. Falls to the ground, there's more violence and things ensue. There is a real big shout in what is that language in Hallett? Just kind of a universal blood for Gorham! And several folks do go running out.
That's our
The
cue.
gate is open.
The gate doesn't, or yeah, what am I saying? They open the gate. They run out the gate. In
Channel vigor on myself. I assume we're rolling in, like we're gonna open up, right?
Do we want to we're trying to get inside the keep while they're outside the keep, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well then never mind. I misunderstood the plan. Thought we were gonna attack now.
2, 3.
I mean, we could. Well, we need to make the original plan was they get out, they run out the keep, we then sneak around and climb through the hole, so we're inside while they're outside. That way we're not basically standing out there with watchtowers.
Okay. Then I will instead cast invisibility on myself.
Also good.
Fair enough.
As I just quickly move folks off the board. Whoops. Okay. So y'all are, and who does not want to be invisible, I guess? Because Jubilost has enough spell slots. He could get, I think, everyone, including Grom.
Then I think everyone.
Yeah, I think.
In which case, this illusion probably wasn't necessary. But I mean, it got some of them out, which will thin their numbers inside at least for the initial.
And didn't it also open the gate for us?
They did. You would be able to slip in while the gate is open.
Okay. Then yeah, let's do that. Instead of trying to climb over a wall. I know I could make it over the gravel, but I feel like Arcturus would just start sliding down I don't know why I picked you out. Probably because you're.
Probably because he's got a really bad strength score, and it has happened many a time in Kingmaker.
I think we know exactly why you picked me out.
All right, so then while the gate is open and they've run out, invisibility will slip through the gate.
Alrighty. Honestly,
we got them right where we want them, in the seat of their power.
Right in the seat. Honestly, Arcturus might consider at this point in his... Well, it's almost arbitrary now, because you guys could be casting Fly on yourselves, but you could just pick up a grappling bolt and some rope and just go full Batman with it.
I was thinking if it had come to it, I would just travel domain port up.
Also that, man. I forget you can do that. Alrighty, I will move us to a board momentarily. First question, does anyone shut the door behind you? Looks like the gate it's pretty old and there's no mechanism so much as just like, here's a big ass wood door that we can pull shut.
Oh, I was gonna say if there was a mechanism there, I would definitely want to pull it. But could they open the gate from the outside then?
More like you would find something to function as a battering ram and beat it down. The door clearly only opens from one side.
Sure. I see no reason not to close the door. Do you guys see any reason not to close the door behind us?
It'll keep at least a portion of them out for a time for us to.
For a time.
Right. I guess it's also our means of escape, I suppose. But you can
I
always
mean,
open it if
at this point, we're pincered either way, so we might as well delay the one side.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we'll sneak in, and then as soon as we're inside and everyone is ready, and we see the enemy is fully engaging the illusion, we'll slam the door shut. Well, close the door quietly. As quietly as we can, realistically.
Honestly, with the strength scores involved in this side of the group, the volume involved with shutting the door is entirely on Senia and Grom.
That's true. Senia, close the door, because I can't even move this thing, probably.
Senia closes the door.
And we shall end this session with a quick perception check.
Ooh.
You see your imminent death.
Oh, come on, make the roll first. Alicia appears out of nowhere. I see you've met my friends, the Tiger Lords. They took my offer. Mahaha.
Thank God our Taurus is holding up this party with our really bad perception.
That's why I didn't roll for Jubilost, because I knew the wisdom guy is there. Okay, so first things first, you see as you move through the gate, it looks like at one point in time, somewhat recently, you assume the Tiger Lords found it and got rid of it, or found it, got hurt and got rid of it. This gate was trapped. Looks like there at one point in time was a really rusty tetanus waiting to happen portcullis that would drop down on you. It has since been disabled, leaving you only with a graceful tower rising out of the keep's central courtyard, now overgrown with bushes, undergrowth, and several sizable trees. Like the outer walls, the tower is draped with vines and creepers, and several small plants have taken up residence on ledges and in cracks along the sides. There are 4 towers around you. The shrine to Gorham is basically right in front of you, and as the gate shuts, a older man walks out from the central tower. I say he is older. That doesn't mean he's still not like a head and a half taller than most human men you've ever seen. His shoulders are incredibly broad, and despite his clearly advanced age, he's still like muscles on his muscles on his muscles on his muscles. He's flanked by about 9 of the Tiger Lords who did not believe the illusion was real. He points his greatsword in the general direction of where all of you are, his eyes kind of like glowing with this reddish light. The cowards are there.
Does Senya recognize this person?
You don't need to roll a knowledge check. You don't recognize them by name necessarily, but you would recognize by his raiment and like position and like the way he's carrying himself and things. He's very clearly a high priest of Gorham. Probably like if we were to make the Tiger Lords another kingdom, he would be their high priest. Certainly they are, typically speaking, the Tiger Lords will, you might call him like the second in command almost. He would have a lot of authority. He blesses the troops before they go into battle. He makes sure the dead are properly interred so they can receive their just rewards in the afterlife, so on and so forth. But do you specifically recognize him? No. Nor do you.
Sorry.
Yes.
Before we end the session, with the way he looked at us with that perception roll, would I get the sense that he looked right at us, like he can see through our invisibility, or that he looked in our direction because he pieced together that the door just shut and someone's...
Spellcraft check.
Ooh.
Damn it. Ionia, where are you? God damn it.
Ooh.
It's very clear the former, he can see you.
Oh, okay.
No.
But you're not sure how. I have no desire for bloodshed this day. If you seek it, I am more than happy to give it to you. He kind of just smiles. My friends and I will let the next move be up to you. And that is where we're going to call it for today. In Before Everyone Dies to the Tiger Lords. Maybe that's the name of the session. Thank you all so much for watching, for being good sports, and I was kind of hoping that maybe Kalira would have gone this way, but that's okay, I guess.
That's the nature of Sandbox.
Indeed. I enjoy it. Mostly because y'all are amazing and you've made an AP that was written C+, B, A+, and thank y'all for your support. Catch us next week for more of the Tales of the Concordians or some, I don't have a great name for it. Till then, say bye, guys.
See
Bye,
ya.
guys.
See ya.